everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be creating some Victorian Christmas-inspired window scene cards. This is going to be using the My Monthly Hero Kit for October 2021 from Hero Arts. First, I want to show you the contents of the kit. This is the look at the entire kit. You can see they are jam-packed with products, as always, from Hero Arts. You'll be receiving a 6x8 stamp set and coordinating dies. There is also a window shop cover plate die, which I absolutely love because it reminds me of the gift shop scene from Home Alone, which really brought back some great Christmas childhood memories. You'll also be receiving 6 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheets of biodegradable acetate, 7 sheets that are 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 of assorted holiday colors of cardstock, and also some Prisma glitter. Starting with the October kit this month, you'll be receiving these kits in the new zipper pouches, which are really great for storing your products if you want to keep everything contained in one area. And you can also buy these separately in a 5-pack if you wanted to store your previous kits in these. So I'm going to jump right in to creating my card, and this is actually a recreation of a card that I shared on the countdown day. That card was a red storefront window scene. This time I'm going to use one of the other colors in that assorted cardstock that we receive in the kit, but everything else is going to be the same. So I chose a few of the images from the stamp set, and I'm stamping them on Dove White cardstock in the intense black ink. There is a lot of detail to these images, so I want to make sure I'm getting a really good impression, and I like to use my stamping bug to go over my MISTI, but also come in and give an extra push with my thumbs just to make sure I'm getting all of that detail. Since I had stamped in the intense black ink, that is Copic friendly, so I am going to use my Copic markers to color in this tree. And like I said, this is very detailed. It's a gorgeous image, but can be slightly intimidating to color. So what I did, or what I found to be the easiest, was I have a 3-color combination for my tree. I took the darkest color and I colored the bottom of each branch and along the artist drawn line. Then I'm going to come in with my medium color and go right over the top of that, filling in a little bit more of the tree. And then I'm going to come in with my lightest color and fill in the rest of those areas. That seemed to just be really easy for me. I didn't have to really worry about where a light source was coming from or anything like that. I just started from the bottom of a branch and worked my way up. And you can see it filled in the tree wonderfully. To keep it fairly simple, I'm just coloring all of the ornaments with a red Copic marker, and then I'm going to come in with a light yellow and just add that to my candles and a little bit to the angel on the top along with the light blue. Now for the presents, I'm going to leave them white, but I add in 2 colors of yellow to the ribbon to kind of maybe look like it's gold ribbon, and then finish coloring in my candles. And then I have a little tabletop here to set my candles on. I colored that first in a light brown and then just added a little bit of detail with a darker brown color. For this rocking horse, I did the same thing. I went in with my light brown first and then just came in with a little bit more detail to add, just kind of give a little bit of dimension so it's not so flat looking, with a darker brown. And then I'm coloring in the stirrups with a brown. I'm going to color in the, I think it's the harness, with a red, and then adding kind of my warm grays to the mane and the tail. The rest of it, I'm just going to pretty much leave white, maybe a little bit of warm gray just to outline the rocking horse a little bit. Now moving on to my swag, I'm going to have this above my window shop. So I started by a red Copic marker coloring in the poinsettias, a yellow for the ornaments on there, and then for the greens, I started with a light green, coloring in the entire thing, and then coming in with a dark green and just adding little flicks. That's just enough for me to add some dimension to it without it making look like a flat image. Then I held all the coordinating dies in place with Post-it tape and ran that through my die cut machine. Now I'm going to cut this window scene with one of the colors of cardstock from the pack that is in the kit. In my first card, which I'll share at the end, I used the red cardstock. This one is going to be dark green. So I'm just going to hold that in place with Post-it tape, run that through the die cut machine. And you could see there is a ton of detail that is actually kind of cut into that cardstock. Now I want to put a sentiment at the top, and I found that the hero greetings, I think this is the holiday greetings, I'll have it linked down below in the video description, but it has some super adorable sentiments that fit perfectly at the top here. So I am using one that says the little gift shop, and I thought that was so perfect. I wish I would have seen this on countdown day because I just love the sentiment and the font. So I prepped the cardstock with an anti-static powder tool, stamped that in the embossing ink, sprinkled on the gold embossing powder, and then heat set that. Once that was cooled down, I like to go over this with a Swiffer cloth to kind of remove any of that excess powder and brighten my cardstock back up. Then what I'm going to do to kind of try and bring out those lines of the detail here that's in the cardstock, I took a dark colored Copic marker and I just literally traced over those lines. I really should have gone with a darker color or even a black because it's really hard to see in the pictures. My red came out a lot better, so you can see that in the picture at the end of the video, but this was just something to kind of bring those details out just a little bit more. Working on my background now, I have a piece of Dove White cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to add some lemon drop reactive ink to the background. I went just a little bit too heavy-handed on this background, but I just wanted a soft glow to the background to make it look like you're peering into the window, and it just has a nice glowing effect from the lights and the trees. Once I have that done, I have another piece of white cardstock, and I'm taking my soft brown ink and I'm just going to drag that from one end of the cardstock to the other. I'm just wanting to give an appearance of a floor, and I thought dragging it across the cardstock would give it more of that maybe wood floor look. And then I can just trim that section off and save the rest of my cardstock because I needed to ground my images. I'm going to have elements in the background, and that just helped kind of ground everything. So I went ahead and attached that floor to my blended panel there, and then I'm going to start attaching everything in. So I'm placing that window shop on top just as a guide, and then I can start adding everything with a tape runner, or you could use some liquid glue. And I like to make sure I'm having things hanging off of the side. I just really think that it makes a better window scene if things aren't just directly in the window. They're kind of hanging off a little bit. And once everything is in place, I'll just flip that over and trim off the excess. For my window, I'm just adding a tape runner to the back of this panel, and I'm going to add some acetate to this to really give it that window feel. There is also some Prisma glitter that you could use if you wanted to turn this into a shaker card. Would be really pretty, but I'm just going to attach the acetate and use it as a window for now. I do want to add a little bit of dimension to my window, so I'm going to add some foam tape behind this entire panel. Now, before I actually attach this, I had an idea. This is one of my new favorite things to do, is I am going to take a white Jelly Roll pen, and I am just going to add little dots on my tree. This to me either looks like lights or sparkle on a tree, but it's one of my new favorite things to do, and you'll probably see me doing it a lot on my cards. And just little dots sporadically across that tree, doesn't have to be in any specific order. So after I have those all added, then I can remove the backing on my foam tape and attach that window cover to the front of my card. To finish off the front of the scene, I am bringing in my garland, or my swags is what I call them around the house. I'm starting by just lining up one in the middle there as a guide. So I have that centered. Then I can bring in the two that go on the side, and I'm just going to attach it with a tape runner, or you could use your liquid glue. And then I'm going to add foam tape behind the one in the middle, just to kind of separate it a little bit from the rest of them. And that'll finish off this card. I'm going to bring in my original card that I created, and I would love to know which one you prefer. Do you like the dark green, or do you like the red one better? And I have to admit, I love that little gift shop title at the top. That was just the perfect finishing touch to this. I have one more card idea I wanted to share with you. If you are not into coloring detailed images, this is a great option for you. I have a piece of Bermuda cardstock cut to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I'm ink blending the edge of that with some navy ink using my blending brush. Then I'm going to set it off to dry. We want to make sure that this is really nice and dry before we take the next step. And what I like to do is just kind of clean up my work area while I'm waiting for that to dry, or you could speed up the process with your heat tool. Then I'm taking that large Christmas tree image and one of the sentiments off of the My Monthly Hero kit. I'm going to line those up on the front of the cardstock. We are just going to do some straight heat embossing. So once I have those lined up and picked up with the door of my MISTI, I'm prepping this with my anti-static powder tool, and I'm going to stamp this in the Watermark and embossing ink from Hero Arts, and I am going to sprinkle on silver embossing powder. I think silver just gets forgotten about. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous embossing powder, and for some reason I always grab gold, so I thought silver would be absolutely beautiful here with this Christmas tree image. So after I sprinkle this on and tap off any of the excess, I'm going to have my heat tool warming up on the side so that it is nice and hot, and I can bring that in and melt my embossing powder. Then once again, I'm going to give this a minute to cool, and I'm going to buff over the entire card front with a Swiffer cloth. If you take that cloth to this too soon, your embossing powder could still be hot, and I've been known to smear it, which is kind of crazy, but I have. Then I'm lining the back of this up with some foam tape, and I'm going to attach it to a white card base that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And once again, I'm bringing in this Jelly Roll pen, and instead of putting it on the tree, I am dotting this all over around the tree, I should say. So kind of like snowfall. So you could do flicks, and I really had thought of adding some glimmer ink, but I thought this was a little bit more controlled, and it just kind of, I don't know, draws your eye into the center a little bit more. I just really love these Jelly Roll pens, and I definitely need to invest in some more. So that finishes up my cards for you today, featuring the October 2021 My Monthly Hero Kit from Hero Arts. I will have all of the supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon.